Hey guys, I'm AfroGeek PlusUltraNappy and welcome back to a brand new video. So in today's video, I am once again going to be bringing you guys up to game with a franchise that I have been rocking with since I was a little kid. This series just ended in December, and right before the new one comes out, I gotta let y'all know how I feel about this show, what I liked about it, some things maybe I didn't like about it, and I'm going to be going in depth with the Power Rangers franchise, but not just any Power Rangers series. I'm going to be giving you guys my little personal take on the newest one that just wrapped up in December on Nickelodeon called Power Rangers Beast Morphers. Now, I may have mentioned a little bit about Beast Morphers in one of my Power Ranger videos that I did in I want to say October maybe, but in this video, I'm going to be talking to you guys about my love for Power Rangers Beast Morphers. So this was one that came out within 2019 to 2020, and I have to say, this series was very good. As far as not being super fucking cheesy and not being dull and mundane, this series was actually really good. The story was well written, the characters weren't all that bad, and by characters I mean the actors who played these characters were actually not all that bad, and the villains weren't terrible. So I mean, as far as I'm concerned, or as far as I'm saying, this was probably one of the best Power Ranger series to have come out on Nickelodeon in the past few years. I mean, the last good one that we got, in my personal opinion, was Dino Charge. And even Dino Charge had its little corny ass kind of moments, just like any other Power Ranger series would, as well as this one. But Power Rangers Beast Morphers was really dope. I want to say, before I go into the characters and everything, I want to say one thing that I really absolutely liked about this series was that it was extremely diverse. And as far as diverse, I'm talking about ethnicity wise. When was the last time we had a talented black man as a Red Ranger? Last time I checked, RPM, and that was the last series to run up through Disney. Essentially, we weren't even supposed to get RPM, but there was a contract with Disney and they had to do something with that series, so that's how we ended up getting it. But that was the last time we actually had a black man as a Red Ranger. So if you ask me, I'm personally happy that we got to see another black guy as the Red Ranger. And then of course we had someone who wasn't white as the Blue Ranger. I'm not going to specify on what race Ravi was in particular, but wasn't white, and I'm glad we got to see that. And the commander wasn't white. The mayor, Devin's dad, the mayor, black. There's a lot of different ethnicities within this show that I fucked with heavy. And that's one thing I like to see in Power Rangers, is that it's not just, it's not just a group of white kids. And Power Rangers throughout the years, even from the very beginning, wasn't always fixated on making the whole group white. And I will say that right now, I'm not saying Power Rangers has never been diverse, but I just like that the show incorporated more black characters and black actors in the show, because with Power Rangers, we don't usually get that, and I'm really glad that we did in this one. Devin, excellent Red Ranger. Devin was a very good Red Ranger. Team player, I like Devin because he was obsessed with video games, and I, just like every other person in America who loves video games, can relate to that. He's kind of lazy, didn't really want a full job, relatable for sure, and is just never afraid to be a team player. And one of my favorite episodes with him, I believe it was, if it wasn't Red Fury, I think it was Seeing Red. I think that was it. Don't quote me on it, but it was like a continuation off of the previous episode before that, when Devin was using those Fury gems to give him a boost of extra power, and he definitely had that boost of extra power, and I definitely fucked with that. But it was also kind of scary because he was using his human DNA was kind of deteriorating and more like an unnatural beast kind of DNA was kind of coming out. He was being more aggressive and more blood hungry. I can't really say blood hungry because it's a kid's show, but he definitely was not fucking around. And that was probably one of my favorite episodes with Devin Daniels. In that there's episodes, like I said, that I liked with Ravi, where Ravi was dealing with Roxy, and who was supposed to originally be the Yellow Ranger, but in the beginning of the series, what happened was all these different people. It was supposed to be different Rangers, like the character Blaze was supposed to be the Red Ranger, Ravi originally Blue Ranger, and he was the Blue Ranger, and then Roxy, who was supposed to be the Yellow Ranger. Blaze and Roxy ended up getting unconscious, and within Evox hacking into the system, the morphing grid, and he ended up making those two characters evil avatars, and they were able to basically shut Ravi's off before he could transform, and Devin and Zoe got pushed in their place when they were being forced to be transformed into Evox's evil little minions. But Nate was able to fix things, and once they put Devin and Zoe in the place, they basically turned into the Power Rangers. And so Devin has Cheetah DNA, Ravi has Gorilla DNA, and Zoe has Jackrabbit DNA. And Zoe was a very interesting character because I liked her attitude with I want to be something someday, with her unwillingly volunteered to be a Power Ranger, her doing the Morphex bikes, her doing the whole solar panel thing around the end of the series. Excellent idea. Nate, who was the boy genius who worked in the lab, who later became the Gold Ranger, who bonded with Beetle DNA, and then he created a robot when he was kidnapped by Roxy and Blaze and Scrozzle to build some robot for Evox to, you know, have a host body in. There was this whole thing where he was making this thing, and turned out he tricked them. He made a morpher, and then he used other insect DNA that he got in that episode, like Mantis DNA, and put it in the robot, which became a Power Ranger. But also Steel was Nate's half brother because Nate used some of his human DNA within the robot, which made him and Nate technically brothers. And you know, at some point Evox found a host, which was Devin's dad's body, which was weird. And then Roxy and Ravi were in a relationship, and they had to break up because the code was Rangers couldn't date. And there was just a lot I liked within Power Rangers Beast Morphers, and I liked the villains. I liked the tasks that they had to deal with when it came to like Rangers couldn't date, because with the whole Roxy and Ravi thing, like I mentioned, Robo Roxy would always toy with Ravi's feelings, and she did that in like I think a couple episodes. And then there was the whole thing where as the series kind of was coming to closer to an end, the end half of season 2, I want to say this was when this happened, was Nate and Zoe ended up becoming closer, and they ended up becoming a couple within the series. Because at first they were going to just leave Grid Battle Force and just not be Rangers, but the commander allowed them to stay and be Rangers, and allowed them to pursue a relationship with each other, which was nice. But I think overall, I just genuinely really liked this, because it was like funny, but also it was like good at the same time. Like, yeah, there were some things like with Ben and Betty, who were basically like your Bash and Skull, or Ben and Betty, who were like the comedy duo, brother sister team who worked at Grid Battle Force, and their dad was the general. They were kind of annoying, but they were smart. Like, they came up with some pretty good, useful tips that actually ended up working to help beat Evox. The stuff that they did was too comedic and too corny, and it was just kind of like, why? But that's what makes a Power Ranger series, because you have people that are gonna be like that. And as far as like the series with team-ups and everything, they teamed up with Dino Charge several times. They teamed up with, I don't think they teamed up with Ninja Steel, from what I can remember. I don't think they did. I know they teamed up with Dino Charge and Dino Thunder, and then there was the whole thing with Jason, where he came back and he used the Master Morpher, but not all the actors came back for that episode. And apparently it was some movie that went within Beast Morphers, but obviously they were strapped for time. They couldn't use all the footage, but that was a pretty cool little 3-parter or 2-parter kind of ordeal that they did. I liked that a lot. But overall, what I'm trying to say is Power Rangers Beast Morphers was a very good series as far as diversity and having a certain level of comedy in there, while also balancing with action and trying to be like serious. All that combined really made this series really good. And if you are someone who really likes Power Rangers and has just been not really paying attention to the previous Power Ranger series, I would at least give this one a shot, This is really good, and I really liked this one a lot. I didn't want to spoil too much because I didn't want to give a whole lot away just in case if one of you guys wanted to watch the series, but you got introduced to a lot of people. Like sometimes they don't show the parents within this show, but you know, obviously Devin's dad was the mayor, Zoe's mom was a famous news reporter, Ravi's mom was a commander, and you see Nate's parents because you kind of wonder throughout the series, where's Nate's parents? You end up seeing Nate's parents, and I bet you're wondering, does Steel become human? Or I bet you guys are wondering, does Steel become human? Yes, the final episode, he becomes human. When at the end of the battle of Evox and everything like that, when he's destroyed in the grid battle force, like little aura kind of thing, trying to kill Evox with the virus to reverse it, he ends up becoming disintegrating and there's no more Steel. But when he comes back with all the morphing grid powers from the Morphex coming back, he comes back but in a human form because it's enough to make him human. Like I said, bits and pieces I really liked. I'm not going to go in depth with like every single episode or every single feature, but basically, like I said, last episode they defeat Evox, Steel becomes human, Devin, like it skips to a year later, Devin becomes commander and Ravi's mom becomes general. You know, Ravi's doing his art, him and Roxy have a relationship, his mom is the general, like I just said, Ben and Betty are still like good battle force, Nate and Zoe are still a thing, but Zoe's evolved and is working on bigger and better projects. Still a ranger though, they're all still rangers. Steel is a stunt actor, and Blaze is also a stunt actor for Steel, which is kind of weird if you were to see the actor who plays Steel at the end. It's kind of confusing. But Scrozzle, I remember, escaped and they ended up catching Scrozzle and they ended up arresting him. And yeah, basically everything happily ever after. Like really, that's really all there is I can say about the series other than just go watch it. But I just want to put my little 2 cents in. So if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, dislike if you didn't, subscribe to the channel if you're brand new. Let's try and get this channel to 100 subscribers. And if you want to check out more content from me, explore around the channel. You might end up liking a video and you might end up seeing something you might like and then share with your friends. And if you want to connect more with me, hit on my links to my social media down in the description below. I'm talking Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Patreon, and TikTok. And if you want to check out my main channel, also link in the description below, that is my Pokemon 1086 channel, where I do video game related topics, and I also do videos on video game reviews. And that's about it. Like I said, just want to put my little 2 cents in about Power Rangers Beast Morphers. Highly would recommend watching it for those of you that are Power Ranger fans, but you've just been kind of lacking on the last few Power Ranger series. I definitely would go back and watch that. The majority of it is on Netflix. I don't think they added the final half of season 2, but if you want to play catch up and just watch what they have on Netflix, definitely do that if you don't have cable. Or there's also episodes on YouTube because Australia, they get all the Power Ranger episodes earlier than what we do, so you can definitely look up videos on YouTube because I'm sure they have full episodes from what is aired in Australia. But other than that, guys, I am AfroGeek PlusUltraNappy, and your boy is just